Welcome back, my friends. The news today is that bank stocks are rising after earnings calls. Bank of America topped estimates on better than expected trading revenue. Bank of America topped analyst estimates for third quarter profit and revenue on better than expected trading results. The bank said Tuesday that net income fell 12% from a year earlier to $6.9 billion, or 81 cents a share, on higher provisions for loan losses and rising expenses. Net interest income fell 2.9% to $14.1 billion, edging out the $14.06 billion estimate. But, before we get into all of that, I would like to thank everyone who views my videos. If you would like to support the channel, please see the link to buy me a coffee in the video description below. And, please hit the like button and leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Bank of America topped analyst estimates for third quarter profit and revenue on better than expected trading results. Here's what the company reported. Earnings, 81 cents versus 77 cents. LSEG estimate revenue, $25.49 billion versus $25.3 billion. Estimate. The bank said Tuesday that net income fell 12% from a year earlier to $6.9 billion, or 81 cents a share, on higher provisions for loan losses and rising expenses. Revenue rose less than 1% to $25.49 billion as gains in trading revenue, asset management and investment banking fees offset a decline in net interest income. Shares of the bank ended the session up less than 1%. Bank of America, run by CEO Brian Moynihan since 2010, demonstrated the advantages of having a massive and diversified financial institution. Analysts have focused on the bank's core activity of taking in deposits and lending to consumers and corporations as rising rates have squeezed the firm's haul from interest income. But the quarter showed that the bank also benefits from surging activity on Wall Street through its trading and advisory operations, just as rivals J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs did. Fixed income trading revenue rose 8% to $2.9 billion, topping the $2.74 billion street account estimate, on strength in currencies and interest rate activity. Equities trading jumped 18% to $2 billion, topping the $1.81 billion street account estimate, on higher cash and derivative volumes. Investment banking fees also surged 18% to $1.40 billion, topping the $1.27 billion estimate from street account. While net interest income fell 2.9% from a year earlier to $14.1 billion, that edged out the $14.06 billion street account estimate. That NI figure in the third quarter was higher than in the second quarter, a sign that the trajectory for this key metric is improving. The lender said in July that a rebound in net interest income was coming in the second half of the year. Bank of America seems to be turning the corner on NI inflection, though the degree is dependent on interest rates from here on out, Wells Fargo analyst Mike Mayo said Tuesday in a note. NI, which is one of the key ways that banks make money, is the difference between what a bank earns on loans and investments and what it pays depositors for their savings. The bank's provision for credit losses in the quarter of $1.5 billion was slightly under the $1.57 billion estimate. J.P. Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo on Friday posted earnings that topped estimates, helped by their investment banking operations. Goldman Sachs and Citigroup also reported results Tuesday, while Morgan Stanley will disclose earnings Wednesday. But why are bank stocks rising when net interest income is falling? Great question. There are a few reasons why bank stocks might be rising despite falling net interest income. Strong earnings reports. Some banks have reported unexpectedly strong earnings, which can boost investor confidence and drive stock prices up one. For example, J.P. Morgan Chase Bank of New York Mellon and Wells Fargo have shown solid results recently. Interest rate trends. The Federal Reserve has indicated that it will pause interest rate hikes and may even cut rates next year. This news has been well received by investors, as high interest rates can weigh on bank earnings. Positive market sentiment. Investors are optimistic about the overall economic outlook, including expectations of a soft landing where the economy slows down but avoids a recession. This positive sentiment can lift bank stocks even if net interest income is falling. Digital transformation. Some banks, like Ally Financial, are benefiting from their digital platforms and unique business models, which resonate well with customers and drive growth despite interest rate pressures. Sector rotation. Investors might be rotating back into bank stocks after a period of underperformance, leading to a broad-based rally in the sector. Morgan Stanley topped analysts' estimates for third quarter profit as each of its three main divisions generated more revenue than expected. The bank said profit rose 32% to $3.2 billion, or $1.88 per share, and revenue jumped 16% to $15.38 billion. Morgan Stanley on Wednesday topped analysts' estimates for third quarter profit as each of its three main divisions generated more revenue than expected. Here's what the company reported: earnings $1.88 a share versus $1.58 LSEG estimate. Revenue $15.38 billion versus $14.41 billion estimate. The bank said profit rose 32% to $3.2 billion, or $1.88 per share, and revenue jumped 16% to $15.38 billion. Morgan Stanley had several tailwinds in its favor, starting with buoyant markets that helped its massive wealth management business, a rebound in investment banking after a dismal 2023, and strong trading activity. The Federal Reserve began taking down rates in the quarter, which should encourage more of the financing and merger activity that Wall Street firms capitalize on. The firm reported a strong third quarter in a constructive environment across our global footprint, Morgan Stanley CEO Ted Pick said in the release. Shares of the bank rose 7.5% in early trading. The bank's wealth management division saw revenue jump 14% from a year earlier to $7.27 billion, exceeding the street account estimate by nearly $400 million. Equity trading revenue rose 21% to $3.05 billion, compared with the $2.77 billion estimate, while fixed income revenue edged 3% higher to $2 billion, also higher than the $1.85 billion estimate. Investment banking revenue surged 56% from a year earlier to $1.46 billion, exceeding the $1.36 billion estimate. Investment management, the firm's smallest division, also exceeded expectations, posting a 9% increase in revenue to $1.46 billion, modestly higher than the $1.42 billion estimate. Morgan Stanley's Wall Street rivals also posted better than expected Wall Street revenue. J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs and Citigroup topped estimates on strong revenue from trading and investment banking. But, what do you think? Please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. And, before we end, a word from the sponsor of this video. Today's sponsor is ProWorldNet.com. ProWorldNet.com is a job website specifically dedicated to licensed professions, doctors, including any type of specialty nurses, and that includes all grades of nurses. Lawyers, regardless of area of legal focus. Teachers and professors, from kindergarten through graduate school. As well as any kind of job that requires a government license or certification. And ProWorldNet.com also includes short-term gig-type jobs as well. So, be sure to check out ProWorldNet.com if you are looking for a job or an employee. Thank you for watching.